Welcome to Division Network, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we're going straight to the question here. I want to ask you, based on a recent report by the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, Business to Consumer E-Commerce Index 2020, they just released the report last week, a few weeks ago, that Nigeria has dropped in ranking to 94 from 88 for countries in readiness for e-commerce. Now, the scores they gave to Nigeria for internet, access to the internet and secured internet services, scores are actually the lowest. And I'm asking, do you agree with the scores given to Nigeria? Because, well, based on what we felt overall, what NCC is doing and everything else since the 2020 till now, do you agree with the scores given?
Thanks. I'm one of those that don't pay so much attention to inter-country ranking versus what is happening within the country in terms of the year-to-year performance within the country. Is there improvement? The reason for that is anything could happen in any given country. That is a particular moment in time that may appear to either improve or decrease their performance when compared to other countries, but it just turns around by the next quarter. So a typical example, a few months ago, Nigeria was rated as being in recession, and then just last week, new data came out that Nigeria is no longer in recession. Nothing stops Nigeria from being rated as back into recession next year. And if you were to compare that with other countries, then it may not be a fair comparison. The most important thing is to understand year to year, is the country improving in terms of e-commerce transactions, access to internet and all? If the answer is yes, then it's a step in the right direction. If the answer is no, then it means more questions needs to be asked and people need to find out why is the country not improving. Now, how we compare to the other countries and rest of the world is important purely from a metric standpoint, but beyond that, the in-country performance to me has more weight, and I will focus more on that. One simple example, if you look at the COVID pandemic, the US just hit about 500,000. Does it mean that Nigeria that has less than 100,000 deaths is better, than the US? The answer may be no. So it all depends on what is happening at any point in time within any country, that's the way I would want to look at it. I know from my observation that because of the impact of COVID, there's been an improvement in the use of e-commerce channels within the country. A lot of people now shop online. When the traditional shopping centers were closed because of COVID restrictions, many people were still able to order their services online, have it delivered, and all that. So from that standpoint, except there's a contrary statistics, I think the country is improving year in, year out. But that, as you rightly noted, may not mean some other countries are not improving at a faster rate, which may give them a better ranking in this particular report.
Okay. But statistically, how would you rate Nigerians' own e-commerce activity before the COVID-19 lockdown and as at present right now?
It's improved. It's improved because more channels are open, and it just comes with the territory, right? Now, that doesn't mean that some of the challenges, it's important to note that one of the challenge they mentioned in this report is in the area of secure internet connectivity. That is still a challenge, which still have to be looked into in country. But beyond that, there is a general improvement in the use of telecom and ICT service. We play in the space. We see across board, across all the service providers interconnected in our data center, we've seen massive improvement in the data usage in terms of the cross connects and all, we've seen in some cases more than tenfold increase in terms of the capacity of the pipes that is being demanded by service providers. So when I see that, and this is just in my data center, I don't know what's happening in other data centers, but we can see more than 10 times increase in terms of capacity requests for cross connect and all that across the various networks. So that gives me indication that there's improvement in connectivity, data access, and all this is directly proportional to what is happening in the e-commerce sector.
Okay. Okay, so I want to point out something in this report, and I just need to know your own personal view on this. The report suggests that despite the huge internet population in Nigeria, that most people prefer physical stores than to shop online. Do you agree with this assertion?
That is true. It's been like that, and it's going to be like that for a long time. The reasons are varied. One, there is still no proper channel to get redress if you have a financial challenge with any of the e-payment channels. You still see a case where you're shopping online, maybe you're trying to buy an airline ticket. Within the process, your account is debited, but it does not conclude. And you don't know if to go to your bank, or your bank tells you that it was done by a third-party platform. The airline tells you it was done by a third-party platform. So some of that, I'm a direct victim of that. I've had that case when I was trying to buy a particular airline ticket, that the transaction never closed and I never was able to retrieve my money because none of the parties could take responsibility. The airline is saying, hey, we don't see the ticket being issued because the transaction was not concluded on our side. I was debited, so my bank gave the debit alert for sure. But between them and the platform provider that was working for the airline, there was this big disconnect. So when people go through that, it reduces the confidence level in using some of these channels. Most of it, you show up even in the shopping centers, you want to pay with your ATM card, they simply tells you POS is not working, right? Or in some cases, it happens and the people says, hey, you receive a debit alert, but you don't, they don't see it being successful on the POS terminal. So those are challenges that still needs to be addressed. It's good to point them out. It doesn't mean that the system is broken. It doesn't mean that it's not working. It's just cause for improvement. And it's fair to say that it's not as bad as this in some other part of the world, but you still have some of these challenges. Maybe not to the extent we have it in this part, but it's technology. These are some of the things that come with it. So I can understand and I can relate to it. And don't forget that even before now, the size of our informal market is multiple times that of our formal market. That has not changed. And it also has to do, or you see that directly reflected in your e-commerce platforms.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.